Hello guys, welcome back to another Broodwar ladder battle. BISU versus HBQ, the series that we have today. BISU hasn't been showing the greatest games in our ladder series recently, but this guy's a legend. He's not playing for money right now. He's not playing for fame or anything like that. He's sitting on a barcode, probably at the end of his day. Just wants to play a couple of chill games of Starcraft. One of the things that he does the best in the world. And that's something that I kind of think about sometimes. Imagine you're a player like Flash or even Sulky, Queen, players who have been dominant in this game with one ASLs, multiple ASLs in some cases. Actually, in all the cases of those players that I just mentioned. And imagine you just want to play a couple of games, but whoever you end up playing against, that is going to be like a highlight of their day, month, week. And if they end up beating you, it could be the highlight of their entire career. If they're not, you know, another ASL contender. If it's somebody who's just like a random ladder opponent, they've been playing for years and years, and they've gotten good enough to catch a game with a player like BISU and they managed to win. I mean, you're gonna cherish that replay for the rest of your life, I assume. Whereas that could just be, you know, the last game before bed for a player like Sulky or BISU. They might not even be really thinking about it. You managed to outsmart them. That could be a huge moment. Anyway, just something that I thought about and I've been thinking about recently. BISU gonna start out with a Dragoon here. His opponent, HBQ, is not a name that we hear very often. Not as well known to the foreign audience because he hasn't really made it into ASL. Actually, I can't say that for certain. I don't remember him being in ASL, but he might have made it in one season. Kind of an ACS level player. Someone who we might see in the China versus Korea series. It's like SCV is going to get behind this, and he actually pushes the Dragoon in the opposite direction. Catching that Dragoon is massive. He's already put a ton of damage onto that. The Vulture's going to come up now. And although he's kept all the shields, or all the all hit points alive, this Dragoon is not going to be nearly as useful. There's a good chance this Nexus, even though it's not a Nexus first, it's a Gateway Cybercore Nexus, could end up getting taken down by HBQ. And he could secure himself a massive advantage in this game off of a bunker rush. Gonna go ahead and push BISU off this mini ramp Pantheon. Has this cute little ramp. Doesn't really do too much. Nexus gets canceled. HBQ in a fantastic position. He was continuing to build vultures, unfortunately, so he doesn't have vulture mines on the way just yet. But he has that machine shop coming up soon. He's gonna send his SCVs back. The Marines are gonna go ahead and fight in the base. Most of them will be killed, but he gets a Dragoon kill, and he gets a couple of probes as well. Oh boy. A third probe? Not quite. The Marines will retreat to the bunker. This one single Dragoon, is it gonna actually get the kill? No. It ends up going down. Two more vultures running into the main base. Past these two Dragoons. Gonna get a couple more kills. 2, 3, 4. Not quite there. 17 probes, 18 probes to 24 SCVs. No natural. And not even a hint of the natural here yet. BISU is gonna have a really tough time in game number 1 taking down HBQ. He's got range at least. But with 2 SCVs sealing this bunker, he won't be able to break through until more come forward. A third and fourth SCV are gonna come up with the tank as well. Mines are on the way, but he doesn't have any more vultures remaining. He actually threw those vultures away into the main base a moment ago, so he doesn't have the opportunity to just start throwing down mines right here. And that means this tank is very vulnerable. If he comes up here and tries to hit, I guarantee you BISU's gonna jump on that tank immediately. Try to target that down, and here he comes, gonna jump on top of that. And he actually blocked with the Vulture. He's throwing down the mines in the midst of these Dragoons, but it looks like the tank will end up going down. And the Dragoons handle this attack particularly well in BISU fashion. He gets rid of the mines with that control and will bring the rest of his Dragoons up to surround this bunker. And unfortunately, HBQ has thrown away a lot of his lead that he gathered versus BISU in this early game. Had he just come up with the Vulture first and laid down the mines right along here and then brought the tank forward, this would have been a completely different story. But he got a little antsy with that tank, brought it up a little bit too soon, didn't pull the SCVs either. One thing you can do is, as soon as you bring up the tank, pull the SCVs down here and try to block with those as well. It was focused on just getting the Vultures to lay the mines in the midst of the Dragoons, and now a double expansion comes out for BISU. He's still behind in workers. Doesn't have a lot going for him just yet, but he did kill that tank, and he shut down a lot of Vultures early on. So there's a pretty small amount of actual units that are on the field for HBQ. Interesting decision from him as well to go for a starport with a Wraith. Cloak is on the way. That is really out of the ordinary, very out of the ordinary. Look at that, he spots the cloak and the starport. So this is not really going to do much damage. It flies through. It will be able to cloak. One observer is coming. Another observer is making its way back into the main. One probe is what I predict before this Wraith dies. And there it is. Wraith will go down. This guy shouldn't get any kills at all. BISU is tracking that now. And what a waste of money. What a crazy, crazy waste of money from HBQ to make this Wraith. Or this pair of Wraiths, and try to get probe damage with it. When has this ever worked? And there it is. Both Wraiths go down. In fact, only one probe. One probe, guys. Think about how much money was spent there. I can't remember how much gas. The cloak upgrade was at 150 or 200. I can't remember. But it's 100 for the starport. 50 for the control tower. Let's say 150 for the cloak upgrade, and then 200 for the Wraiths. That is so much gas. Think about the amount of factories and tanks that could have been pushed out rather than wasting all that money into the... He built a third Wraith as well. Holy... Well, that might be useful a little bit later on, as the shuttle is on the way. Cloak Wraith, the only way I've seen it used with any amount of efficiency is by putting 3 cloaked Wraiths together. And then when you're gonna push out, fly forward and snipe down the shuttle that's holding the Reavers inside. Let's say the Reavers get dropped off right up here, and they're just waiting for the push out to come. Suddenly 3 cloak Wraiths flies out and kills the shuttle, and then the army pushes out and just kills those 2 Reavers and barrels across the map. That can be a recipe for success, but certainly not going after a bunch of probes. He's doubling down now, getting more Wraiths, but luckily not going to be going for probes. Happily not going for probes here. Instead, going to siege up in a strong position. I think that the better position is along this edge, from my experience. You can put a turret right there and a few tanks right along this edge. It's very hard to push up here or from this direction. We'll see how that ends up going. A Vulture run by down towards 6 o'clock. Can he actually slip around this? He will. 3 probe kills and likely a 4th. No, this is the click there. And so 3 more probes go down for about 3 vultures. Not the greatest trade in the world, but the probe count has been hurt quite badly already on the side of BISU. And so lowering that probe count a little bit further. Allow HBQ to maintain a good position in terms of his macro. Will he be adding a science facility there? It is science facility coming up. Should be finished just around the time when that +1 upgrade finishes on these tanks. And so he can start the +2 and a +1 armor at about the same time. He has his 3rd base online. And BISU gonna go ahead and grab his 4th. So we're getting into a pretty big game now. Those early trades that we saw, you know, the Nexus kill or the Nexus cancel, and the damage that was done to probes in the early game on the side of BISU, none of that's gonna matter too much anymore as we get into this later stage. The tank number is gonna be very high, and there's nothing really that Protoss can do to break open the Terran for the time being. It's just gonna have to wait, defend his probes like he's doing already, get this 4th base online, and prepare for that move out, that 150 to 160 supply +2/+1 move out that we've seen time and time again. Triple shuttle, maybe heading towards this main base. This could actually be good for the Wraiths. The Wraiths could come in very useful in a situation like this, but he flies away. Wait a second, he's flying away at the worst possible moment. What is this? He's gonna fly away from these shuttles right as the army flies in. The Cloak Wraiths are gonna be very good at taking down those shuttles. Most of the workers will escape, and tanks are being brought back. Can he kill the 2 armories? These armories are getting so low, and there it is, they get taken down. That is crazy to me that he moved to those Wraiths at that particular moment, and he loses both of his upgrades. Starting another armory now. Looks like it'll be in the natural. Much easier location to defend. He only had 1 turret here because he had the Wraiths. The Wraiths that were going to help him to defend this main, and he pulls away right at that all-important moment. Now gonna shove out with a bunch of tanks, perhaps to take this base over near the center right. This is a mineral-only location, but it's gonna help him to get some more factories down and pump out a lot more vultures. Now, we've seen this many times before from players like Light. Pushing down this pathway is very good, but we need more vultures in this army, and the positioning is not amazing just yet. Gotta spread out those units a little bit more. He does kill the Templar before it actually gets any storm off, and the tank number is pretty good. Gonna be setting up. Great storm there. Gonna get any more as more storm, more Templar in this shuttle. He's starting to hit the robotic support bay. He gets it. Robotic support bay goes down. Probes are falling in the natural as well. The science vessel clutching up with that D-Matrix, kind of saving the day for the moment. No more Wraiths in the composition, and so this shuttle will stay alive and be able to drop Zealots on top of all this. Where are the reinforcements? More tanks are coming up. Storm on the left-hand side. Double storm, in fact, on the left-hand side. Some turrets will finally be built as some SCVs come to join the party. Need to reinforce this as soon as possible because BISU is looking to break through. Here's the big storm on the back few tanks, and I think with that storm and the follow-up, he should be able to break this push. It's such a strong location to push through, but I don't think HBQ did the best job of setting this up. Now actually he's going to bring forward a few more tanks, get into another good position. He has an SCV here to repair as well. He's got one turret, although it's only on 18 HP. Trying to drag a mine. Doesn't quite get the mine in there. Will drop a zealot. And that turret is going to burn. Turret burns down. Another turret up in the front line. We sent forth 1,800 minerals in the bank. Looks like HBQ having a little bit of a hard time pumping out. This can happen when you're close to victory. When the heart is pumping hardest. You're moments away from that moment, that victorious moment. Occasionally, it can start to fall apart. Gonna drop a couple of zealots on this center right. BISU has quite a bit of money. He's pumping it into a huge amount of zealots and dragoons with a bunch of shuttles. The turret number's getting kind of high. There's a wraith out here with a D matrix on it. You rarely ever see that combination. It's no longer a paper plane. Has added some iron plating onto the outside of that thing. It is now a force to be reckoned with. Gonna run forward here. I don't see any storms yet. A lot of these Templar dying to the mines in the front, and the tanks are just raining down fire on everything popping out. I think this might be it. Yes, BISU is going to tap. Kind of a weird engagement there from BISU. Let's just see that once again. The very end of that last engagement was a bit wacky. Let's speed up just slightly here. We'll get that final engagement. What actually happened? Because I think you want to drop zealots in the back line over here. Send maybe this shuttle with 2 or this one with 4. Drop up here. Drop the Templar maybe over in this area and storm over the wall. Or drop them here and storm right there. But it seemed like he dropped everything on top of mines. So let's take a look at this again. He sent this one forward to drop the zealots, but only managed to get like 1 zealot out of this, I think. Yeah, the 1 zealot popped. The second zealot never made it out. That first zealot barely managed to, die right before then. He dropped out his Templar, but they all ended up dying right here. Look at the Templar up at the front. Nothing in this back line. And so BISU just completely fell apart. Look at this. Like, there's no storm here. This one tank has 4 HP and it was just not dealt with at all. Finally takes 1 shot from a Dragoon. He gets that storm. This is the storm that I was expecting right off the bat. Dropping the Templar right there and storming these tanks over the wall makes a lot of sense, but it was super late and BISU botches this bust out attempt. HBQ takes the first victory. We're going to jump into game number 2. Game number 2 with BISU in top left. HBQ in top right. I think BISU was a little surprised with that attack. Came kind of out of nowhere and hit his natural, I think, in a moment that he wasn't ready for it. But it's such a strong attack pathway. We've seen it so many times. Light especially likes to abuse the map in that way. That vertical attack path through the horizontal as well. If you are next to your opponent and not cross map on Pantheon, it's incredibly good for Terran, it seems. Pantheon, not a map I would have I thought originally was going to be super Terran fair. I thought it was pretty good. Like, there's a lot of walls to deal to fight with, but the middle is so wide open. I guess if you're able to just focus all your attention on barreling down that one pathway, it's pretty favored for Terran, I suppose. And Protoss getting in here, doing Protoss things, probing with the probe. Trying to get a kill on this SCV. Ah, it's so low, 10 HP. He wants it. He needs it. He's got to have it. Where's that kill? Can he actually go for it? Marine is here now. He's a big bully. Those big shoulder pads. He's on the football team. He's gonna block you and push you away from getting what you want. Go, go, probe, go. And it does go down. Marine victorious over the puny probe. But the Zealot is coming for revenge now. It's like he'll walk right up in here and try to delay this factory if he can. Oh, ring around the rosy. Gotta go through that gap. Sometimes the Marine doesn't want to do it. Going all the way around again. Oh, he actually attacked there, but canceled the animation. Oh, revenge. The SCV gets in the way and blocks the Zealot. For all those previous games, when Zealots were able to kill the SCVs, he stands in the way and says, no, it's my turn. Pushing them back. Like this SCV is going to take quite a bit of damage behind the mineral patches. Does not win. The probe does not win against a SCV straight up. So he will bully that away, but taking a lot of damage on this SCV, that's not really how you want to do it usually. 2 Zealots. Are they going to take an engagement with 4 Marines and a Vulture? I don't think that would be advisable. Vulture's made its way all the way around. The first Vulture gets to the ramp, gets 2 probe kills, should back off afterwards. First Dragoon here at the natural. He's gonna go up the ramp. He loses his Vulture and his SCV on the command center. I have to wait for a tank, it looks like. Tank should be on the way. What? We're not gonna start one? Okay, we did start the tank. Coming out to start a bunker. Unfortunately, his SCV moves in the complete wrong direction. Good snipe there. Very good snipe by BISU, targeting down that super injured SCV, and now gonna target down the Vulture as well. The Zealots are getting right up this ramp. Uh-oh, HBQ in a lot of trouble because of the stellar targeting of BISU. I think I'm gonna get this last Marine. No, that Marine goes down after the Dragoon takes the final shot. SCV adding on a bit of damage. Now the tank is out. He has something to say about it. Excuse me, Master Sergeant here comes forward and bullies back these Dragoons. Looks like this SCV only had one more shot on it. He went for the kill. You can see how optimized these players are at the highest level. He's not only controlling his units, but he's individually clicking on the Terran units to check and see which ones have the lowest health and whether he can quickly snipe one of them down with his Dragoons as he's microing everything. So really impressive stuff out of BISU's. Second gateway's on the way, but it's not there yet. And 2 tanks plus SCV and Marines are on the way, heading across the map now. Mines is almost done. There's only true Dragoons here. 3rd one in the wall. 4th one coming up. Not quite there yet. And a 5th just got started. See if this is going to be enough to hold this strong FD push. I believe that is the name of this build. I get mixed up a little bit between the regular FD and the strong FD. There have been a little bit too much Marine death in the early game, I think, for this to be a strong FD. And it's not really even a fake double anymore, because I believe that BISU completely knows it's just a pressure. But it certainly looks like an FD because of the lack of siege mode in this push and the combination of Marines and SCVs. That shield battery is completely out of energy, but it did its job. It really helped out a lot in holding this attack. The tanks are playing with fire, but they're trying to bait in these Dragoons to hit the mines. He kills the... Sorry about that. He kills the shield battery. And now we'll get mines out all around here. Oh, the shuttle's coming out now. He's only just now going to get his observatory. So he is pretty far off from getting that observer out and dealing with these mines. Running back home, he's going to set some mines up in his main HBQ needs to be quick about it. That shuttle is on the way, and he's sitting here without laying these mines ahead of time. The shuttle can go all the way into this back corner and start to deal a lot of SCV damage. There's the Reaver, drops out. There's no mine in the vicinity. He drops a mine over here at the top. But it's not going to be out in time. That Reaver is going to start to light up the vultures and now heading down towards this natural. There's 2 tanks at the natural. I think he can stop this from dealing any more damage, but BISU may still try for it regardless. No, he's gonna fly out. Observer is on the field now, so he can look to clear out that mine and get his base online. It's now 8 minutes 30. It's quite a bit later than BISU would have liked to start that 3rd nexus, but it's not the end of the world. He's gonna get it down now. He has speed on the way. He just didn't really deal any damage with this Reaver. He sacrificed the earlier nexus by not getting out a quick observer to move down and snipe those mines and get rid of those mines and get the nexus up quicker. He prioritized getting damage, getting return damage onto HBQ, and unfortunately that's failed. I think on the curve, HBQ looking a little bit better, even though his supply is slightly behind. I'm looking at this and I feel like he's done quite a good job. Engineering base just coming up now. He hasn't had to invest in a bunch of turrets. He's got Goliaths and mines everywhere. And he's already added up to 5 barracks before ever putting down a turret. So he'll set up turrets once this engineering bay is done. Set up a wall of turrets surrounding his base. Maybe get a turret in here as well, and then start to move out to take that 3rd. The way the map is structured here on Deja Vu, this push path is going to be the most important thing. If HBQ can move out and take this position, he can start to push this direction, and then as he's pushing, he can take the 3rd base. The 3rd base is kind of covered by this push, and once he's got tanks on this high ground, he can cover the entirety of the entrance of BISU, and things get very hard for the Protoss players. So we'll see BISU trying his best to slow down this push, to overwhelm it before it gets into this position. I have ACC on the way. No, just focusing as much as he can on it, getting this army count up. He's going up to a massive 7 factories and getting prepared for this push. Armor upgrade on the way, speed on the way. Multiple turrets being set up back at home to prepare for this move out so he can pull everything out of this main. He doesn't want to leave 4 Goliaths back up here. He wants to pull this with the army to initiate this big attack. Without fear of being counterattacked, he needs some turrets up. He's very much skimping on them though, only adding 2 in the main, 1 in the natural. He's trying to absolutely optimize this push. BISU, on the other hand, adding a ton of gateways. His speed upgrade is about to finish. He did not opt for shuttle speed. Oh, wait. Actually, I think that is shuttle speed. No, that's not shuttle speed, is it? Hard to tell. No, that is shuttle speed for sure. Yeah, he did get shuttle speed. I'm looking at that shuttle, the way that it's microing. That is for sure a speedy shuttle. And so with 2 shuttles, 10 zealots on the way, and another shuttle coming up soon, will he be able to break this push out? You can build turrets up here. And so taking this high ground, like I said earlier, is a big win for our Terran player HBQ. Moving towards the middle, which I'm a bit confused about. Okay, he's gonna move back now. Attacking along this path is great. Setting up tanks along there, and then of course along there is amazing. Gonna snipe down a observer, which means any mines laid out in the front will be very hard to get through. Gets a shot with the Reaver. Still 4 Goliaths in the mix. Gets a couple shots on the shuttle. 4 Goliaths will 2-shot a shuttle. Here comes Zealots from the top side, but they're getting bunched up quite a bit. Zealots get dropped on top of a lot of this. Reavers are going to be brought to the back line. There's not enough vultures to actually deal with all of the Zealots over here in the front. There's only 2 tanks remaining. I think BISU just cracks this. Really good attack by BISU. The macro just crushing through. Still 2 tanks remain, and there are a ton of factories with this, right? He's got so many factories. I'd actually like to see a 3rd add-on and just get more tank production going, because he's not going for quick additional upgrades. Might as well just go ahead and get an extra add-on, because the gas is starting to pile up a lot. This extra base is not long for this world. He better cancel. Oh, he never canceled. That is a shame. He really needs the money. He badly, badly needs the money to continue producing at this point. And he loses that CC. 400 minerals down the drain. He's gonna push up. Try to get into a position here at the front. He's got Goliaths coming. These 4 Goliaths need to get into position. What are they doing? They're sitting at the rally point. And these shuttles are going to be able to drop on top of all this. He's backing up. Gonna run forward with those Goliaths. Try to gun down the shuttles here shortly. There we go. He gets into a better position. We'll be able to hang on for now. Still can't take his CC just yet. Another SCV looks like it'll be sent out. Maybe to take that, or where is he going to send this? Is he going to build a turret on top of this? No, I think he was coming out to build this. Unfortunately, the Reaver is still there, and so that's not going to work. I don't think he's going to stop. I think that HBQ is just going to go until he either breaks BISU open, or BISU stops his push enough times to where he starts to mine out. I don't think there's any future in this game for HBQ if this push doesn't work. He's moving forward now to go ahead and set up that CC. Base is maybe getting built down here in the bottom left. Oh, built the cannon, unfortunately, right in the way of the Nexus, so you have to kill that and remake one. Gonna be killing his own mines as he starts to shove forward. Take a look at the tank count here. 11 tanks, 12 tanks total as he moves towards this middle. He's got a good minefield on the bottom side of this army, but again, I want to see him push towards here. Set up tanks along there and along this wall. Spreading them out is going to be key to the victory. Having mines right along here is awesome as well. Oh, but look at this big drop over at the natural. Bunch of SCVs are going to end up going down. Rally point is a little bit full of units though, and so he may be able to save this for the most part. A counter drop not paying off that well for BISU. A lot of these workers can just get sent over towards the third base now. Gonna kill off both of these shuttles. And one more storm. He does have it. Oh, kind of a weird place to put the storm, but there it is. Gets maybe another kill. And so BISU doesn't really get a lot out of his shuttles and doesn't really have many shuttles. Well, he's got 2 left. Maybe try to dive bomb some of these tanks. More turrets getting placed up here in the north. Vultures laying down mines as well. Drop thinking about coming in here, but he decides better of it. There's no actual SCVs at that area. Maybe he can catch the transfer. Ooh, this would be so good. He drops the Zealot. Oh, is he gonna go for it? Oh, shuttle gets sniped down. Zealot pops out. No damage for BISU once again. Oh, that is a bit unfortunate. What are all these SCVs doing? Oh my god, it's a party. Okay, he gets them to work. They're just mingling over there. Shaking hands and kissing babies. Some sort of political event. They vote to get back to mining. And so they will do. Vultures make their way down to bottom left. He's gonna try and force the cancel on this Nexus, but could he have gone up into the base and potentially killed a lot more probes? That is a possibility. Well, the Dragoons are available though, and he's gonna go for the probe kills as an afterthought. Gets quite a few. Bringing this probe count in bottom left down to just 4. 40 workers total to 46 for the Terran. It's still looking like a reasonable game for HBQ, although he still hasn't added a starport. Okay, there's the starport. Never mind. Starport is there. CC over here. Science facility on the way. +2 is very late, but it will eventually come online, I suppose. That's a pretty big army. A lot of shuttles. I don't see the Goliaths to try and shut this down. Plus the mines are, for the most part, cleared out with the initial attack. A lot of Templar in this force. They're going to be raining down storms on top of groups of tanks, and my gosh, BISU just smashes through this with ease. That's the only +1 upgrade there for these tanks. Not really able to cut down those zealots very quickly, and not having the Goliaths in the mix. Just start shutting down shuttles as they push forward. Really a big deficit to his hold. Now he's gonna bring down a few more tanks from the third base to try and hold this, but I think BISU has done it. BISU clearing out HBQ. Even though it was looking a bit hairy, it seems like he will, in the end, finish off this push, clear out the natural, kill off all these SCVs, and force the GG. Getting his revenge. BISU takes game number 2. HBQ, bottom right. BISU, bottom left. Game number 3. It's all tied up. 1-1. I'm just gonna win this little impromptu series on the ladder. Hope you guys have enjoyed this series so far. Make sure to leave a like if you haven't already. Support the channel if you can afford it. Patreon link in the description. Thank you to everybody who supports what I do in keeping this content rolling. We've got some big things coming on the horizon for Broodwar and for the channel. So I hope that you guys are still excited about this game and are going to continue to keep watching and supporting throughout 2025 and into the future. Another 25 years, boys. Broodwar is still going strong in Korea and in our hearts. It's like modern, normal openers from both players. Nothing cheesy, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing wacky. But we have seen from HBQ before his propensity to try and punish. Even a gateway first with Cybernetics Core build that opts to take an early Nexus. If BISU wants to try and do that again, and it kind of looks like that's the way he's angling, we might see a bunch of Marines built and HBQ try once again to kill that Nexus, pull some SCVs, and get this early attack going. He doesn't see the Cybernetics Core spinning as he leaves the base with the SCV. Will there be range? No. Nexus on the way. This is a similar setup to that game number 1. HBQ, will he make the same moves? In fact, he will not. Starts his machine shop rather than building vultures straight up. Might be just popping out vultures with mines this time. But he's not going to have the initial vulture with 4 marines push back this dragoon. This time with just 3 marines. Going to take a little bit of damage on these. And gets back in here to see that there is, in fact, range on the way. Pops over the mineral patches. Just keeping this pesky SCV alive for as long as possible. And in fact, forcing the dragoon back here makes it such a long travel time to get out onto the map. Probe scouting, tank coming out here. Gonna stop at, what is this? 6 marines, 1 siege tank. Vultures and mines behind this. He's gonna shove back the dragoons and can threaten to take this next fight. There's still no range just yet, right? He delayed the range, so it's pretty easy to push up here. 3 dragoons is a lot, though. Be able to kill the marines pretty darn quickly. Vultures are going to push forward. Time to set up the mines here at the front. Mines getting set up out of range of these dragoons, and so he won't be able to gun those down easily. Going for the vulture, he puts some damage onto it. Should target that down. 1 mine goes down. Will it be targeted? It does get targeted. 1 dragoon ends up getting taken out. The probe count is getting reduced, and in fact 3 worker advantage now on the side of HBQ. He does take quite a bit of damage on his tank. Now range is finished, and so it'll be much easier for BISU to clear this. Going to pop the mine up, looking for an opportunity. Oh my gosh, he eats that mine. He really wants that tank. He wants it so bad. He does end up getting it in the end, just sacking the dragooner. At least sacking the majority of its HP to the 1 mine in order to kill that tank. Worth it, though, to kill the initial tank. And so HBQ gets some probe damage, puts himself in the lead in terms of workers for a moment, then kind of evened out now, but kills some probes, kills some dragoons. He loses 1 tank, a few marines, a couple of vultures as well, but I think he's going to be pretty happy with that push for the most part. Would have loved to keep that tank alive, though. Now it's going to be much harder to do a follow-up push. Sans 1 tank. Dragoons, however, very low on their HP. Be tough for them to push in against any amount of dragoons and vultures with the limited HP pool available. But however, the tank is gonna move out here. What are you thinking? HBQ moving so far ahead of these mines. He tries to come out and he loses both tanks. This was a terrible decision by our Terran player, and now he's in an absolutely horrible state. Gonna have to come running out here and try to get mines on top of this, but he's most likely gonna lose the majority of his vultures. He does get a good mine connection there, but the follow-up is not going to be nice. He's trying to dive into the natural to get some sort of recovering damage, but compensation, however, gonna find nothing as the wall is full of dragoons. And these dragoons are gonna be returning home, picking off these vultures as they do. Only vultures coming out of HBQ, and you can see he was gearing up for a follow-up attack, right? He was gonna go for a 3-factory cheeky little timing, but losing those tanks, absolutely unforgivable. He tries to run by with the vultures into the natural. Again, a good block from BISU. Finds nothing, no purchase, and will lose some of these vultures as well. Trying to speed out of that area. The mines get laid down, but for the most part end up just getting cleaned up easily. 1 dragoon, of course, ends up falling. Probe looking for a 3rd, but vultures sitting and waiting. Not going to be able to snipe that probe, though. And so the Nexus will come down as intended. for BISU. Mine's going to be placed. He will be looking to collect some probe kills when they come to transfer. Likely those vultures will be waiting. Oh, running through mines here. Looks like he can clean those out. Observer's just behind that. HBQ not adding on any more factories. Is he really gonna try and 3-fact again? Just 3 factories, try to go for it? There's only 2 gateways, I suppose, but how many tanks have been lost? And there are Reavers on the field now and a shuttle. I don't think he's got the anti-air to deal with that. He is gonna add a second Goliath at least. But I'm really feeling the Protoss position at this point. He's looking very good. 4 more gateways on the way. That forge coming up. No Zealot speed in the works just yet. No Citadel. But he might have found an area to penetrate into the base. Turret hasn't finished building just yet. Vulture's still looking for damage, but aren't able to find anything. Over and over again, getting trapped in this bottom center and losing their lives. Basically for free. There's this shuttle speed coming online, but now the turret is up. Some zealots are gonna pop out here and gonna try and find a location in the back that he can park in, but turret is in a fantastic position to stop this Reaver from getting too much damage, and it looks like this Reaver just going to get a couple of shots off. Can it actually kill the tank? It will. That is annoying. Able to kill that tank. Gets 1 SCV as well, and the turret, but eventually it falls. BISU does not really have the production to break HBQ right now, and with the shuttle and Reaver being lost, certainly will have to just continue to expand and look to the later stages of this game to shut out HBQ. And now we're in a bit of a different situation here on Deja Vu than in that last game. There's not a great position to push, but I'll talk about that here in a moment. We've got this drop coming through. Gets 3 of the 4 zealots out of that dropship. Dragoon and Reaver are going to be dropped here in the main. SCV is gonna get a big shot off. He gets a good shot and actually damages almost all these SCVs, but gets no kills in the end. Tanks unsieging and heading back up into the main. Still 51 workers remaining for HBQ. So 1 last kill on an SCV there. But this shuttle and Reaver, not long for this world, will get 1 last Goliath kill before being taken out. And HBQ can now get back to mining once again. Still on only 4 factories. He's managed to secure his 3rd and prevent these attacks. Now, talking about the bigger state of this game, remember how in the last game he was able to push along this angle and take a base behind it? That's not going to be the case for HBQ this game. If he pushes up on this high ground and heads along this way, it's still pretty strong to push through this narrow area. You have a nice defensive position here. You set up tanks along there. It's hard for the Protoss army to come from the north and attack into you. However, just because you push along this direction does not mean you get this base behind your push. That base is still easily assaulted by Protoss from his natural, so it's a little bit more complicated for HBQ in this game. If he pushes up to here, I would very much be surprised to see HBQ push up and take top right. Most likely what we'll see is HBQ push this direction through the middle, try to take the CC out towards the middle of the map, and then loop down to taking this high ground here. Try to cover all of this area and cut off the supply of units coming out of BISU. He could have also, of course, pushed this direction and then take this base. That might also work. Although it'll depend on whether there are gateways up in the top left by that time or not. Adding on more factories now. Still no starport. Starport is missing for the moment. Though he should have enough units to hold on. He should be able to hold this if BISU wants to try and dive in here. The mine setup is great. The tank setup is great. Tanks on high ground as well. Tanks over at this third base, far back from the wall, but close enough to deny Dragoons from easily coming up and shooting this. I think his setup is looking amazing. And he's going up to, again, looks like 7 factories. 7 factories once more. Or am I even wrong? 6, 7, 8 factories. Wow, 8 factories with no +2. A very modern style of play we're seeing out of HBQ. Denying those early upgrades, or not taking those early upgrades, instead focusing heavily on his army count and hoping that he can overwhelm the Protoss without having to take this into the desperately long late game. Losing a tank there at the front just to a couple of zealots. In fact, just 1 zealot there being dropped in exchange for a tank. Always an amazing trade. BISU is starting to take top right as well. Things are getting a little out of control. If I'm being honest, HBQ needs to make some moves shortly. He does have 3 factories, which I like, but he could even go up to 3 add-ons, excuse me. But he could go to 4. Remember, no additional upgrades. That's so much gas that's not being spent, right? You have to buy the starport, the science facility, the extra armory, and then you have to pay for both the upgrades to get +2, +1. Snapping down a few of the Templar before potentially moving out. He's drawn the army away. This is the perfect opportunity. Look at where the army of BISU is. If he unsieges now and moves into this position, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Of course, his vulture count is not that high because so many were just thrown away, trying to deal damage on the other side of the map. But he has this golden opportunity to come up here, and he's let it slip away. BISU is now back into position for the most part. He's actually moving away right now, but can he actually snipe some of these Templar? That would be sick. Gets a Templar kill for free. And now he's going to move forward. Okay, bringing up the tanks. He's going to take this high ground. Very important that he's able to pass his own mines and not be caught on top of those. Spreading out tanks. I want to see him unsiege everything and move forward. There's no point leaving tanks down here when you're trying to take this high ground. Come on, HBQ. Move your tanks, buddy. We're going to be able to contend with a player like BISU. We need to be able to move more of our army. These tanks as well. I would like to see him take all of these tanks, or at least half, if not 3 out of 4, to move forward into position. Take these tanks too. What is this? What is this? Bring everything. Bring everything. This one, this one, this one. Bring these ones too. Bring everything. What are we doing? 200 army supply. Gonna be coming down on HBQ now. That's quite a bit of shuttles. A good targeting on one of them. One shuttle goes down immediately. Second shuttle goes down as well. A lot of storms in this shuttle group. The tanks are quite spaced out though. A lot of zealots remain, and he is gonna hold for now. Pull everything, HBQ. Unsiege absolutely everything and bring it to the front. It has a supply lead for the moment, slowly shoving up. I like this position too. If only mines were not right on top of all of that, would be advantageous. Try to snipe this Templar. Can he get it? Get the Templar. Ooh, not sniping that down in time. Looks like he will take it out, but not until all of the storms are cast, unfortunately. BISU is looking massive. This guy has been bulking hard. Look at how many gateways he has at each different corner of the map. HBQ, I think, has let this game get a little bit too far out of control. with not bringing his entire army to the fore. We can learn a lot from this game, I think. What HBQ has done a little bit wrong here. Certainly now bringing all of his tanks to the front is great. You can see he's finally pulled those tanks from the high ground. He's still got 4 over here, but he's going to be bringing the rest of everything up here. Taking this fight. BISU just running it down. Jumping on top of all of these tanks. The last few tanks go down. BISU is the victor. GG HBQ. Got kind of dominated in this game, if I'm being honest. How did you allow BISU to take the entirety of the map? He's got all 4 corners, or all 3 corners. The 4th corner, just HBQ sitting on 3 bases, trying to attack all in with no future plans of getting more upgrades. In fact, he did try to take 6 o'clock behind his push, but as I said, it's not really possible. You can't take this one. It's not how this works. You're pushing along here. This pathway is still wide open. Maybe if you can get some tanks down here, maybe you can sort of defend it, but it's just so accessible. So accessible for BISU to fly shuttles over here and just harass the heck out of that expansion. I think taking the middle would have been better. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.